Hello, hello, welcome. So excited to have you here. If you're joining us live, thanks so much for being with us. If you are watching the recording, thanks for watching. Welcome everyone. My name is David Hotler. I'm the community manager at CAMI, and joining me today is Dr. Laurel Aguilar-Kirchhoff. Congratulations on that recent title.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. Laurel, you're our senior educational strategist. Both of us were at ISTE this year. And if you weren't in Orlando, this is your 30-minute download. So really quickly, I'm going to be sharing a lot of stuff on my screen and sharing those links down in the chat. But folks, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who haven't tuned in, it's okay if you haven't seen it. CAMI is a family of products now. It is a great honor and great excitement that we have expanded a bit, right? So you might have noticed a year ago around ISTE, just after we launched or announced that CAMI purchased Book Creator, but in the background at the same time, CAMI Companion was released. And at ISTE, we launched CAMI Coach. We're gonna be talking more about that in a minute, but we are 4 products under one roof called CAMI. Super excited to talk a little bit more of that, talk about the ISTE event this year, what you missed, the big topics there, and also where to get all the resources from the CAMI booth and session room. Before we jump into any of that, I just have to say the recording's going to go out to folks who have registered. Please do stay with us in the comments if you have any questions for us, or you just want to share your excitement of things. Do throw those over there in the comments. So let me share a link to this page in the chat, because we're going to be really talking about this page the whole time. But let's kind of kick things off. Laurel, what was the single biggest thing that happened at ISTE this year that if you weren't there, you might not know about?
Well, there was a lot of big news, but I think the biggest news was the name change for ISTE. And a lot of people, if you weren't there, you might not know. So ISTE, formerly International Society for Technology and Education. Now it's International Society for Transforming Education, which is really exciting. And I get it, because with the merger, just like we have had this big change at CAMI, ISTE had merged with ISTE. And so now, this was big news. And I think it's an exciting time, because we are all working towards transforming education.
And I have to say, I think this really matters too, because it changed the framing of the entire conference, right? We're really moving towards that intentional tech usage in the classroom, really framing things around learning sciences, obviously a major category this year. And next year's sessions will be really focused around that. The ISTE standards are always being upgraded. But, we were talking before this really about that intentional ed tech and student-centered AI. It seemed like there was a bit of a shift at the conference, right?
Yeah, the term, and I think this is where for those of us that have been in ed tech for a while, and we've used it ourselves as educators, we have coached others to use it. The idea of how are we being intentional with this use for student learning outcomes? Because that's the whole thing. Technology is technology if we don't use it with that purpose and that intentionality behind it. And so I do think this is a good shift for ISTE. I think this is a really, like you said, I think it's an important one. And really bringing in, for a long time, it felt like ed tech was kind of over here, pedagogy was over here. So with the merger of ISTE plus ISTE, that was just that natural progression of bringing the technology and the pedagogy together. And that's what we need, right? We want to transform education. And I think actually, next year ISTE will be in Boston, which is exciting. But we're going to see more and more of this combination of how are we really transforming education through all of these different channels, because at the end, our goal is to help students learn and thrive. And that's, how are we going to get them there? So I really think that intentional ed tech, student-centered everything, but also, student-centered with AI, but also teacher-centered on teacher workflow, helping, with the whole shift in screen value over screen time and the conversations, and really helping free teachers up so they can spend more of that human-centered energy with their students. I think this transformation and putting that in their title is really appropriate. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see where they go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good evolution. And I'm not actually that surprised that the themes of what we brought to ISTE aligned with this new shift that ISTE saw and took. We're in those communities. We design to the ISTE standards. We talk to ISTE certified educators. ISTE certified educators work for CAMI, are in our communities. Our keynote was accessible, intentional, human, right? So we are in that space. We're listening. And yeah, let's actually dig in a little bit to that. I'm going to jump over to the microsite that I shared before. Let me just throw this banner up so that folks can see it. It's camiapp.com/ISTE-2026. And so when you go to that site, I'm just going to kind of take us to that schedule, because kind of give us like a rundown, like just some of the big things that kind of happened during the event.
Sunday was incredible with our make and take workshops. I mean, that was, you never really know who's going to come into ISTE a little early or what they're going to have planned. And especially being in Orlando with all of everything that's in Orlando. But there's our make and take workshops were just like, we had to carry chairs in, and like we were at capacity. The fire marshal's going to turn people away, which was amazing. I love that. And that was such a great way. Hotler, I've got to give you a lot of kudos on that, because I know that you helped build that with our community leads and to really make that a special day for people that were like, no, I really want to get my hands in, like make stuff that I can take home. Because we know, and everyone that's been to ISTE or any conference, doesn't have to be edtech, they're so great. You get so much information, you leave with all these ideas, but then it's like, I've left with all these ideas, but now I've got to go action them. And I think that's why those workshops were so great, because you got all the ideas and you had time right there to action them. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And the session room and the sessions that we put in it were really a response to what our community is saying they want and need, right? And we're listening to what folks are saying. And I think that's why these kind of getting started time to work workshops were really so popular. And so for those of you who weren't there, Sunday, the Expo Hall hadn't opened. It's kind of like a pre-day to the conference. And really Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is kind of the meat of the conference. And I know Monday morning, we had a huge Rise and Shine mixer. That's kind of our thing now. We like to do breakfast. We had it in the room. It felt like a club. There were character artists. There was a live musician. People were hanging out, staying longer than we had time to keep them there. And then we turned over the room and ran up to the booth. And you were a part of the keynote. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the keynote was great. And so I wasn't the sole person on it. Henji, our CEO, kicked us off and just talked about our mission and our vision with CAMI, which it's really important, because CAMI has always been human-centered. CAMI was created by college students for college students, and it's just this wonderful story that really just brings to the heart, because CAMI has always been made for students, for kids. We've never been an enterprise, big box tech. It's always just been here. And same thing with all of our products, and book creators, the same thing, made for kids, and it was real intentionality. So it was really great. I spoke a little bit about just our experience and our journey, seeing how teachers across the country have been using all of our products, how it's really been bringing that accessibility into the classroom, which is that heart of UDL. And then Randy, our product, our director of product, she was able to talk about our newest product, Cami Coach. And I know we're going to talk about that more, but it's so exciting to have this new product that's been so intentionally designed by our fabulous engineers and product managers. I mean, and spoiler alert, they designed it with students. Like,
ooh, that's actually a good segue. I actually have a video. I'm going to put a link to this video in the chat real quick, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm glad you had that ready. It's such a cool story, and in working with edtech High here in California, and just the collaboration with the students co-designing this product with students, it's a really cool story. And it's also it just tells you how we work at Cami, right? We don't think and just guess, like, what are people going to need? No, we dive in, we spend the time, we work with teachers and students, and we really listen. We say it all the time, right? Like, let us know what you think, because we'll tell our engineers, and they'll try to action it if they can. Yeah. And this is a perfect example of that. So yeah.
In fact, in the video, you see Wallace, who is the manager of Cami Coach, and I mean, she's an absolute phenomenal individual, but her ability to listen, to understand, is incredible. And to see her interacting with the students in the video is just really inspiring, because, you know, I only get to see her, you know, face to face, her and I. So awesome to see the students like adding in their pieces, and even having conversations with her behind the scenes about just what she learned working with the students to build this tool. So really fun. Tuesday, full swing. I mean, I think if Monday's not the busiest day, Tuesday is definitely the busiest day.
Oh my gosh. The thing that I loved, so we had the session room, which was, if people don't know, like, this was a completely separate room that we were running sessions through. That's complete, like, out. It's not in the expo hall. It's not booth sessions. We had amazing booth sessions too. But our session room was really dedicated to tackling these big ideas in education, what's happening right now, that intentional use of tech, AI. We had district partnerships. Some of our most wonderful, amazing districts that we work with come in and showcase the work that they're doing. Big shout out to all of them. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about some of them. They were just incredible. And then that's the thing too, is we don't need to go in, and we have the booth. The booth was amazing. It was just like a work of art. It was just like this beautiful space to go and learn and spend time in. But the session room was a place where we could have other people, and we could showcase and champion them, and they could share their work and what they're doing. We had poster sessions going also. I had a couple of sessions outside of it was just this really great, amazing synergy, I think, between our session room, our booth sessions, and then all of the sessions that our wonderful Cami family members were doing all around ISTE. So it's pretty fantastic. Tuesday was a very busy day.
Tuesday was busy. Absolutely wild. Wednesday, same kind of thing. You know, you start to see folks, they're slowing down. I think edtech karaoke is Tuesday night. If you've never been to edtech karaoke at ISTE, it's an absolute party of teachers. So Wednesday morning, we had a demo slam in the room. It was a little quieter than a normal demo slam, and I think folks, you know, were recovering from a wild week. But we learned a lot, right? Like, having something not work really shows what is working. But I think next year we might put that at a different time, maybe right after the Rise and Shine, or I don't know. We need to play around and think about when to do that demo thing, because we had some incredible community members sharing some really amazing ways to use our products together in the classroom, as well as individually with students. Just a really wide range of presentations there. I think we've got some good video of them as well. I might be cutting those and trying to get those up onto YouTube. But I want to,
For
sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just wanted to ask, are some of these sessions available on the ISTE site that so they can go and see the session materials if like they couldn't get to Shayna from Milwaukee Public Schools, her
Mm,
session for book creator. Oh my gosh. You know, I use book creator a lot. I love book creator and I learned so much from her. So are those resources available? I genuinely I don't
great
know.
question. From our ISTELive microsite, if you click on resources,
Ah.
yes, there
Oh,
is a
perfect.
book. There's a book here. So all of the booth sessions, we actually did a pretty good job of pre-recording all of our booth sessions. So if you weren't there, you can
Nice.
actually go and watch the booth session done in like a studio environment like this. And they're all
Okay.
inside this book, and any resources are linked within that book as well. You can take this, remix it, put it in your libraries, whatever way. And then if you scroll down, you'll get to our white papers. We're going to talk about these in just a moment. And then below that, anything that happened in the session room, the resources associated with that session are right here. So the one that you were talking about is right here, Kayla's an edtech guide to putting out fires. If you click on
Oh
that
my
session
gosh.
resources tab, it'll pull up those resources.
Dr. Kayla Holland's session is if I mean, that's a great session that's not even what you could take that session about putting out fires and problem solving and apply it to anything, not just it's a framework on how to I, I don't reframe the way that we look at problem solving and working. A lot of it's about empathy. It would be great to use with students, but I think internally with we just had I really want to thank all of our session room presenters, and I'm not going to list
Mm,
every single one of them right now, but like I'm so entirely grateful that we had amazing people that were willing to donate their time to come in and share all of these things. We had Matt Winters came in and talked about, he's on the Utah State Department of Education. He came in and presented about AI policy at the state level. I mean, we had a really huge, amazing group of individuals that just came and shared their time, their talents,
mm,
their resources. So I'm
yeah,
excited to see that they're all there now, and I would highly encourage everyone to go in. I mean, these are like major educational figures,
yeah,
and I'm just so grateful that they were willing and able to come into our session room and share.
yeah, yeah. It says a lot that they're in our corner. You know, a lot of things got said as well in Orlando about Cami Coach. This was the big thing that we showed up to Cami with, or to ISTE with, and a lot of excitement around it. That we obviously did the keynote, but we had a whole section of our booth where you could come and check out Cami Coach. And if you go to our website, Cami app/Cami-Coach, you can get access to, this page launched right around the time ISTE launches. And so you can actually get early access. I don't know if that even works. Yes. Wow. You can sign up to beta test Cami Coach. But I want to talk just for a little bit, if you weren't there, Cami Coach, just in a quick nutshell. This is a tool that leverages AI. It's an AI tool for students to work through problems they already have on their screen. But what it's not is a chat bot. It's not a tutor that hands over the answers. It's very much brain first, AI second. So it's guiding students to that answer and looking at what they're doing. But I think the big thing here, and this is the sentiment that we heard, was that it's really tracking how students are thinking.
Absolutely. The way that it's intended to be used is alongside and actually after the teacher. So it's
Yeah.
really a coach. I mean, it's going to flag misunderstandings where students are, working through things. It will also flag any safety concerns. We've had a lot of testing that's gone on into this. But really the response was like, this is what we've been waiting for. This is, not this shiny AI tool that's going to go in and like solve all the problems, but it's going to actually, it's something the teacher can use with that, again, that intentionality, and that feedback can work in this timely asset-based manner that's very, very calibrated. The intention and coach is to coach the students along, keep them thinking in this really, low stakes environment. The teacher can't go home with the kids can have coach at home. It can be there, because not always, and I'm a working mom. I can't always be sitting next to my son to help him with his math homework. And as much as I would love to do that, and also he's in calculus and it's a little above the last math that I took, but coach is intended to be able to be this low stakes environment that's going to keep the teacher 100% in the loop of to where the kid's at. And it's that handoff back to teacher instruction. It's this really beautiful tool that is truly, that I think it really embodies what we're talking about with that intentionality. And I love what you said earlier, and that is so important, David, about this is not like some kind of AI chat bot. You're not going to see something like pop up and be like, it's not a personification of AI. It's truly a tool that teachers and students can use. And I'm so thrilled for it.
Yeah. In fact, if you watch that video that I shared, the students actually talk about how they tried to break it. Like they tried really hard to break the chat bot. I think they call it like jailbreaking, but like they tried to get it to do things it wasn't supposed to do really, really hard. And they didn't get there. But I remember hearing a teacher from Alabama actually at the conference say, I was overhearing a demo, but it was like, this is the data that we really need, right? This is the insights that a whole team could use to adjust or shift around the curriculum to really meet the needs of students right where they are right now. So we're really excited about this. And it's interesting too, because as we are launching this, what we saw from a lot of the AI-based companies is a shift away from that. I don't know if you were there last year, but like all the headlines were how much time AI could save teachers, and complete shift this year towards student thinking, supporting student outcomes. So again, another signal that Cammie's listening and going in the right direction. We put out this new product right at ISTE as this shift is happening. So really fun to see that this is built for the current environment.
Absolutely.
We talked about it a second ago. I'm going to go back to the session resources page, and then I'm just going to linger right over here of this white paper section. You can actually go here and click and download each of the white papers that our incredible Dr. Aguilar-Kirchhoff is the author of. But talk to us a little about this, because we intentionally designed that room in these sessions to attract hard conversations. We were not dodging punches. And I know that your backlash session about edtech, this whole kind of like edtech backlash right now, was one of our most popular sessions at the entire event. But like, what were people talking about?
It was I'm glad you said that, because we really did not shy away from hard conversations. And that's where we want to be in education, because we do need to have the hard conversations. We do need to talk about, what is happening, but more importantly, how is this affecting our students? How is this affecting our teachers? And how is this affecting the support that we can give in so many different ways? The EdTech Backlash session, I did something a little different this year. This is the first time I did this session, but at the very beginning, I asked people what did they want to get out of the session, and a lot of people wanted advice. Where do we go? What resources can we share? And basically, people are just trying to navigate, this really huge pendulum swing of like, we're going to ban all tech in the classroom when we know that we're living in the 21st century digital environment, and we need to prepare our kids for that. So these big giant questions in the room. And so I was very excited and grateful that I had the opportunity to write the white paper. We were able to give out hard copies, right? Analog. We talked a lot about blended learning. And the idea of, we never want to use tech for tech's sake. We want to use tech in a way that's going to support teachers and their workflow, support students and their learning and comprehension and understanding, which goes back to what we were talking about before, that those cognitive learning sciences, which we're really digging into. And so the idea of purposeful use of tech with creating, collaborating, critical thinking, but at the core, that equitable access and making sure all students are able to participate and have barriers removed before they're a barrier. And that's the heart of Cami and all of our products is accessibility. So that session was, it felt like it flew by. We probably could have done a double session on it. And the white paper in and of itself, there's a lot of resources, but what I really encourage everyone to do, head to that bibliography. Everything in the bibliography is there, linked. I did a lot of research and wanted to provide as many resources as possible.
Mm. And you touched on this just a second ago, and I think it's important and worth noting, and really how research informs our design of our platform. We intentionally are not gamifying our apps for students. There's no points, there's no avatars, there's no skins to unlock, there's no special, things aren't designed to look like candy, right? I don't know if you've looked at your phone recently, but those apps look a lot like candy. And that's because of what the research shows us. The productive struggle is the learning. That cognitive load the students are under has to be real. And when you mix that struggling with these like little dopamine hits of gamification, you don't really get those learning outcomes, right? And that's really coming out of that research, but then filling its way right into our platform. And you mentioned it before, we've always been about edtech. We're not an industry tool trying to break into new spaces. Also, not to mention, I think 50% of our staff are current or former educators in some capacity. You mentioned Randy, our head of, she's a principal. Like our head of product was a teacher, a principal, and is a school board member. We are designing these things for students. So just really fun that we were able to attract those hard conversations, that we have a team of people who have lived in those environments and understand the reason we have to have these hard conversations. And then to have you there as a former educator and a researcher presenting this and showing how it connects to what we're doing and trying to accomplish, really for me kind of brought that full circle piece back. I mean, you said it before, like if you want something in the platform and you're a teacher, raise your hand, get a hold of us, and chances are it's going to get tallied up and eventually added if enough people are requesting it. So
love feedback. Feedback is the heart of Cami. Give us feedback.
Yes. So I want to reiterate to everyone just where you can find the resources that I've been mentioning here. I'll throw this banner back up at the bottom. But if you go to camiapp.com/ISTE-2026, it's there in my UR. You will see everything that we kind of had going. If you click on the session resources, that's the treasure that you're looking for. That's where you're going to get an access to all the booth presentations that we pre-recorded with their resources. You'll also get access to those white papers that we talked about. And then down here, if it was in the session room, it's on this agenda. And each one of these show resources buttons will pull up the resources from that session, whatever they provided. Like I said, we are working on getting these community demo slam videos up. So stay tuned for that. Really excited there. But yeah, what else?
This is, I mean, I would say if nothing else, like from this session, like just this website, and there's been more added since the last time I looked at it. So it's pretty incredible. It's not this like static, oh, ISTE's done. We're just done with this. We keep adding more and more. I'm so impressed with how it looks. So I would encourage people, if nothing else, go to the site, see what's on there, check out those session resources, and maybe bookmark it so you can come back to it later, because there's truly something for everyone there. And like we mentioned earlier, we have all of our product and information and all of the things with all of our 4 products, but then we also have those amazing presenters that came in, and there's so many big topics in education. So check out those session room topics, and again, many thanks to all of our session presenters. They were really fabulous. So I would bookmark this. This is where I would keep coming back to it.
And I think this is important, worth noting, and I can see Katie behind the scenes. This site won't be up forever. Is that correct?
Oh, when is it going down?
So
Nope, go
okay,
and
we
get
do
it.
plan to leave this up. Okay, so there's no urgency there. Good. Okay, I wasn't sure. This
Well,
site will
go
be up
get it
at
now,
least
then.
until next year, right? Once 2027 hits, we're gonna have some new resources up. But still, go get this now. Bookmark that website, and don't lose these. And Laurel, you said it before. I want to reiterate it. We really could not have done this without our community and without our partnerships within these schools and districts. So just an absolute massive thank you, big hugs and kisses to all of the community members and folks who stepped up to come to our booth, to present, to show off what's working in their schools with their students. Was just an absolute excellent piece. But I think Laurel has to go. She's at a conference right now.
I do, but I do want to give one quick shout out. I want to thank Atlanta Public Schools for coming and presenting in our session room. And Karnika, she was on the main stage, closing main stage. She took time out of her schedule. She was a main stage presenter, and she was in our session room along with her whole team from Atlanta Public Schools. So I would be remiss if I didn't just give them a big shout out, and to all of our presenters. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait for next year, but we have more. I know you have some things, like we have more things. Like this isn't a one and done. There's more from Cami.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're going to be taking this momentum that we gained at ISTE this year, and we are just going to keep rolling downhill all year long. We're going to be coming at you with shorter, more focused webinars that are only 15 minutes long. We're calling those Unstoppable in 15. Those are coming your way. We're launching a brand new community space. Keep your eye on your email for those updates coming soon. Obviously, the recording for this will go out. We also just launched a brand new learning hub. So if you go to our website and you click on resources, you click Cami Learning Center. This is like your one-stop shop for resources from Cami. It's where we post all of our webinar playbacks. It's where you can get resources for back to school. We have this fun little back to school persona quiz, which is fun to take. So definitely jump in, check out some of those resources. If you're in our community, check your inbox. You would have gotten our newsletter yesterday. But hey, we have got to go. We're a little bit over time. Plenty more coming. Thank you, Laurel, so much for being with me and for being at ISTE and just being that force for good.